Hey, welcome back. It's Laura again at Hyperstamper. I'm about to put this journal up on my Etsy shop, and it is hyperstamper.etsy.com. And don't forget that everything in all of my journals are authentic, antique, and vintage ephemera. I don't use any commercial products in my journal, so it's really a nice little journey through history when you look through it. This one here is a beautiful, beautiful vintage book. It's called The Little White House. It was a children's book, obviously. And I've added these wonderful vintage beads down the side, along with some ribbons that I thought matched the cover very nice. It's this beautiful teal color. I hope the camera picks it up. My lights are awful. Apologize. And I added some vintage doily down the side to pop the whites up a bit. And it's got the spine still intact. And, oops, pull that off. And then just a cute little back there. Everything is intact, and I would love to show you the inside. So come with me and we'll look through here. It's got the original library stamp here. And look at this. I don't normally keep this many first pages, but this book I just had to. I really, really like it a lot because look at this beautiful little white house. Our home, the white picket fence, the home. Like it's just so pretty, and it's a double page spread, so I really wanted to keep it all together. And then, I mean, just these first few pages are magical. And I added some pockets here, and there's a journaling tag here with an antique book page with this pretty bird image, and then Drake Bakeries from 1953. That's kind of fun. And you can journal on both of those. More children's book images from this book. Now here's something very special. I literally only have a few of these, but I acquired a vintage, quite an old French dictionary. And they had a few color plates in it. This one is spectacular. I'm actually surprised I'm parting with it. It's got this whole page of birds, Osho, on the front, and then the earth and oceans on the back here. Isn't that beautiful? It's stunning. So anyway, oh sorry, I shouldn't be taking so long looking at it, but I'm gonna miss it. I've actually had it up on my desk for quite a long time, but it's time to make room for something else for me to gaze at. This is another antique book page that I made into a journaling page with antique paper on the back. This is from a 1930s embroidery book. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the images there. That's really beautiful. And this is another different children's book. And I turned it into a pocket and a journaling page with antique paper on the back and just a canasta score sheet in there, a vintage one to journal on. This is a vintage botanical book. And then this is the Little Mother's work basket page from the book Things to Make and Do from 1920s. Another vintage children's school book page there, and wonderful clusters. I really love making my clusters. This page here is from 1850, and it is fabulous. You'll see more of that. And then this is one of those English, look at the Girl Guides there. Is that great? I didn't know they had Girl Guides in England. So that's on one of these wonderful fuzzy cardstock sheets. This is a vintage postcard. It's 50 years old, and it is from Seven Oaks, 1974. And I just think it's so cool. I love it. In the 70s, postcards took on a whole new look, so they're really interesting. There's that 150-year-old, or sorry, 1850s, more than 50 year 1850s history book page, France. This is the Goldilocks image here, the three little beds that they turn into a pocket. And this one here is from the 1920s Etude magazine, May 1921. And look at the images here. It's all about music. Oh, they're just so wonderful. You can actually reuse these images now that it's more than 100 years old. 1920s children's book page here, you turn into a pocket. And then I turned this into a little journaling envelope. It is also an antique book page, and that is in vintage children's book page. Look at this wonderful full color image of Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit. Just love it. I love it. And this is from the Housekeeping Encyclopedia from the 40s. Look at these women playing cards in the kitchen. I just think it's fabulous. Fabulous. Here's another one of these wonderful 1940 French almanac pages. Really, really fun. You can pop that into Google Translate. It was during World War II, so it's actually really, really interesting reading. This is from the 1920s art education book, and this is one of the color plates, and it is spectacular. It's one of the how to paint or draw blooms, and I just think it's gorgeous. So I love that. Success. This is one of those fuzzy cardstock pages as well from an antique book. This page is from a vintage book as well, children's book. And then this, look at this wonderful photograph. I know it's a little blurry, but I love it. Look at the women's dresses that they're wearing and their fabulous hats. I just think they're so great. I'll pop that back in this. And on this side, I pulled a plate. And I hope I haven't stuck it in here. Look at that. It's a fox hunt, I believe. And it's really quite colorful. It's over 100 years old, and I just love it so much. That is the inside of a antique book, the interior spine. And then this here is a little booklet of all antique and vintage papers, just for extra journaling. And I'll just flop that over top there like that, which I think is kind of fun. I did a whole full doily here. You can cut that up and reuse it, or just enjoy it the way it is. You could even glue it down and make it into a pocket if you want. But I did add a journaling spot here, nice fun stamp cluster up here. This is not antique or vintage, so full disclosure there. That is just a beautiful piece of handmade paper with the infused plants inside. I love it. Vintage recipe book page, and just a little journaling spot here. And I put another antique envelope journaling piece in the back there. And this is from the 1956 Theater Arts magazine, and that one is about Broadway. Isn't that great? And then on the flip side of that, you get another great story here. It's not often I saw pink paper in that publication ever, but so I thought that was really special. Another 1920s children's book page here, more vintage birds. And this is really fun. This is from 1900, and it was how to do cursive writing, and the lesson is to copy this letter and write a reply to it. I think that's really awesome. And a beautiful little poem on the other side, children's book page, vintage playing card that you can upcycle and make into wonderful crafts. And 1930s children's book page, Maid Marian, and 1970s log. And this is a laundry stub here from 1953. From Lowell, Massachusetts. Another antique book page, and the end and a beginning, which came from the other book that you just saw. And early 1900s book page there. And that brings us to the end. So I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. Hyperstamper.etsy.com, and I'll see you soon.